This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're at the pad of Tyson Fury here in Las Vegas, joined by his new trainer for the first time, Sugar Hill. Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
All good. It's going pretty mental in there. It's United Liverpool obviously going on right now, and we all know Tyson's a big United fan. What's going on in there?
That's right, man. You.
Are you United as well?
That's right.
Perfect fit. How they getting on?
Getting along real well. Training camp is good. The atmosphere is good. It's everybody's happy. Everybody's upbeat, and you can't ask for anything better than that.
What was your first memories of Tyson Fury, Sugar?
Very tall white guy walking into the Crunk gym and being so coordinated, moving around, jumping, shuffling around his feet like a middleweight or a welterweight. Those were my first memories, and I guess the words of fresh meat, because that's what people say when somebody new walks into the gym. They just holler. Somebody just hollers, fresh meat, fresh. There's a guy named Bam. He says, fresh meat. And when that happens, everybody turns around and looks.
Okay, so he got a random flight to Detroit. Looked for the Kronk gym, which was the old Kronk gym. It wasn't there. Then told the cab driver to go to the new one. As you said, he was the only white guy in there. Tall guy came in and said that he's going to be the future heavyweight champion of the world. What was everyone's reactions there, including yourself and the late Emmanuel Steward? God rest yourself.
Well, the first day, I mean, when he came in and said that, I mean, everyone's just like, like, okay, we've heard these stories before from people coming in saying they're going to be the next champ. And, a few days later, from him being there and working out and talking with Emmanuel, Emmanuel talked to me about him and told me the talent that he had. And I just watched him in the gym from that point on, and he wanted to box, boxing, and he wanted to box anybody. It didn't matter to him. And spending a couple weeks with him was good. Watching his work ethics, him hitting the bag hard, everything he did 100%, and was always happy about it and communicated with other people in that sense as well. I guess like his care for people and being around people and being happy and lifting people up. So he worked good with people in the gym, and that carried over until we went to camp with Vladimir Klitschko in Austria, and that was the same thing. Had great times there, training, great times talking at the table, great times playing, having snowball fights, running, things like that. So it's the same right now. When I rejoined him for this camp with versus Wilder too.
So he spent 3 weeks out in Detroit, is that correct, when you first met him?
That would be about correct.
So you didn't see him that much?
I saw him every day pretty much.
No, but in terms of 3 weeks is still a short time, of course, but from what you saw in those 3 weeks, did you see a future heavyweight champion of the world?
I didn't look at it that way. And I guess a lot of times I don't look at it that way. I just look at the person and the good character. He's working hard, and I wouldn't be able to tell that until we got in there and inspired with Vladimir Klitschko, but that never happened. So I saw a great talent in Tyson Fury. That was that's not common. It's not a common for a fella 6'9" to have the talents like that. The ability to move and to do things that a smaller fighter would do. It's very uncommon.
They're both very uncommon in terms of Tyson. As you said, his conditioning for a big man is amazing in the way he moves. And Wilder looks like really he should be a cruiserweight. He's that skinny, but punches ridiculous in arguably one of the biggest punches ever.
Yeah, it's like a super heavyweight.
Exactly.
A new division.
Absolutely, yeah. They're both freaks in a good way. Besides his natural ability, what do you make of his mental strength, Tyson? We know that story about him and Vladimir Klitschko in the sauna, and Tyson felt that led him to being victorious in Dusseldorf in that historic night. From what you've seen of Tyson, what do you make of his mental strength?
So he has a story about Vladimir Klitschko, him and Vladimir Klitschko in the sauna, and he stays in the sauna longer than Vladimir, and I guess he. It's a funny story. So funny. I was there. I came in third place, if you could say that. So I had to challenge myself to stay in that sauna a long time as well, but it got too hot for me. And I didn't have any future plans on fighting either of the two, Tyson or Vladimir, so I got out.
Don't blame you. No, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, I was there for that one. And so it was.
How long was he in that
interesting.
sauna for, Tyson?
I mean, he was in there longer than Vladimir was, and he stayed in a little extra just to pour it on. Same thing I would have done, or anybody would have done. Don't just get out, walk right out after the next man got out, but stay in a little bit longer, no matter how bad it hurts, and just just to prove a point. And his point was proven.
Had no one else done that to Vladimir before?
No. Vladimir was always the last one in the sauna. He was always the last man getting out the sauna.
It's interesting that. I mean, shows his character. Going into this fight, 99% of people thought Tyson won the first fight in LA. But with Deontay, you can never rule him out with anyone. We know why. What changes for Tyson? And what he told me is that the only thing that changes is that he's got to knock Deontay out because he's not getting a decision here. From your perspective, what changes from the first fight?
That right there, the knockout.
Just that?
The knockout, yeah. And as far as Tyson's determination, his will, everything that makes him who he is, such the great fighter that he is, that's a lot. That's a lot for him to say, I'm getting a knockout, and to go for the knockout, because anything put before him that's a challenge, he seems to overcome and seems to succeed. That's something I noticed about him from first meeting him, being in the gym. Any kind of challenge put before him, as far as can you hit the bag 300 times in one round? Yeah, he's gonna do it. Can you climb that wall over there? Yeah, he's gonna go climb that wall. Just anything you put in front of him like that, any task or any challenge, that's Tyson Fury. Those are the things that gets him up. Those are the things that makes him, makes him be the best that he is. Brings out the best in him. The fight with Deontay Wilder, that was a top fight. One of the biggest fights other than the Vladimir Klitschko fight. But through Tyson's career coming up, he always fought the best guys. He didn't fight guys he easily beat. He always pushed himself to challenge himself to make him perform on a higher level. And it showed in the first fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And the second fight, he's pushing himself even more. He wants a knockout.
Tyson's openly admitted before, in terms of the Klitschko fight and the first Wilder fight, he didn't step on the gas, and that was part of the game plan to see the fight out and win on points and try and avoid as many risks as possible. And obviously they worked. Obviously Klitschko, we all know what happened there, and Wilder on paper was a draw, but a lot of people thought he won the fight. So is there extra risk involved with using this game plan? Do you feel a lot of people might think that?
There's always a risk. There's a risk when you get in the ring, period. Especially in the heavyweight division, because one punch can change the fight. That's why the division has always been such an exciting division, and the granddaddy, division of all of boxing is the heavyweight division. You take a risk by not trying to step on the gas and knocking your opponent out, because later on in the rounds, maybe he knocks you out. That's the risk you take. So that also was a risk for Tyson in the first fight, is not stepping on the gas, just trying to win on points. He doesn't want that again. I don't want it. I wasn't raised that way. Emmanuel always taught me, get the knockout. That's the only 100% for sure way that you won the fight. Take it out of the hands of the judges.
What was your actual thoughts on the first fight itself, and then the decision when it was read out was a split decision draw?
My decision, my outlook on the fight is I thought Tyson won the fight. I thought he did enough to win the fight, even though he was knocked down twice. But I'm not mad at the decision, because I understand from me being taught, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. The best way to win your fight is you make sure you win that fight. Don't leave it up to somebody else. If you have to catch you have to catch an airplane, and you depend on somebody else to get you there on time, get there yourself. I guess one of the rules was always, if you want something done right, do it yourself. If you want to win, make sure that you win. Do it yourself. Get a knockout.
We know Tyson's
or at least go for the knockout. If you go for a knockout and you don't get the knockout, then probably you're going to win the fight. But if you just go for a win and don't win the fight, then you lost.
We know Tyson's cousin Andy Lee is back in the picture as well, someone you know very well. What's he bringing to the table, Sugar Hill?
Well, what Andy Lee brings is his experience, also being around Emmanuel, being around myself, training in the crunk gym, and that's what Tyson wants. He wants that crunk style. He said it before. He speaks, he speaks about it a lot. He wants that crunk style. He wants a knockout. He wants to be able to use his right hand like a Thomas Hearns, like a Vladimir Klitschko, like a Lennox Lewis, like a Gerald McClellan, like so many of the famed crunk fighters throughout history. The crunk fighters always knew how to set up that big shot and get that knockout, and that's what he wants to do. He wants that knockout, and Andy Lee being a part of that with one big punch. He loved his little right hook. He'd always knock people out with that right hook, as he'd done so many times, and it's just looking for that one punch, your best punch, and being able to set it up and being able to execute it and get those knockouts. That's so exciting in boxing.
It came as a shock to the public when Ben and Tyson split. Now, there hasn't been a huge amount of time. I guess, when did you link up with Tyson? When was the first point of contact? Was it December?
It was December. I don't know the exact date. It was. It went public on a Sunday, and I talked to Tyson on a Tuesday, the Tuesday before the Sunday. So, doing math, it's not hard. Yeah.
But you feel like it's enough time to implement your ideas and tweak things and get the best out of him on Feb 22nd?
I definitely do think it's enough time. First of all, it was in Tyson's head already before he called me. So it's not like I'm trying to change him to do something that he doesn't want to do, something that he's not comfortable with. So it doesn't seem to me as a hard task like everyone makes it to believe. This is already set in Tyson Fury's head, what he wants to do. He just brought me in to put the pieces to the puzzle together.
In terms of his opponent, Deontay Wilder, where do you rank him in the heavyweights that you've worked with and seen? I'm talking the best heavyweights. Where do you see him in the picture? How good is he?
Deontay Wilder's right up there. I mean, in the top 5. And not to try to put him on, lower or anything like that, but I mean, I've been around the heavyweights, and seen the heavyweights that have been, that have been dominant, throughout the years, and he's making his way as being a dominant heavyweight. He's been champion for, I believe, 5 years or almost 5 years, something like that, and that's a long time. And that's in any weight division, but in the heavyweight division, I guess Vladimir Klitschko was, almost broke Joe Louis's record as far as, longest reigning heavyweight champion. And I guess was going, toward the other record for defenses as well. So to do that, as Wilder has done for 5 years now, is a big accomplishment. And you have to put him up there with the heavyweights, the great heavyweights. Wilder's knocking everybody out. I don't know if any other heavyweight has knocked that many people out like that. He's only had one fight where he didn't get a knockout.
And then he knocked him out in the rematch.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to look at those things and say, wow, he's one of those fighters, that will be remembered in history. And he doesn't weigh as much as the heavyweights of today. He's, like you say, he's really a cruiserweight, pretty much, not really weighing over 220 pounds, fighting these fighters that are 250. But he's got the height, and he's got the power, he's got the quickness. He's a dangerous fighter all the way around.
Do you feel as if this is the best fight in the division?
I do feel that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder is the best fight in the division, for the fact that you have, it reminds me of Ali and Frazier. You've got the big puncher knocking everybody out, everyone's going crazy, and then you got the superior boxer that can also knock people out, which you can never ever underestimate that. Yeah.
Ali Foreman, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ali Foreman, Ali Frazier, because they fought.
Both,
they had a trilogy.
Yeah.
So I guess the first fight was Ali was put down and things like that, and after that, Ali sealed the deal on the other 2 fights.
In fact, heavyweight history has told us, not even heavyweight, just in general, that in rematches the boxer tends to beat the puncher.
I like that. I haven't done that much history on it or stats, but yeah, that sounds about good.
In terms of the mega fights, when you look back, it seems like the boxer does always beat the puncher. We'll see what happens on February 22nd. I asked, is that the best fight in the division? Tyson told me on, I think it was yesterday when I interviewed him, that he does want that Anthony Joshua fight. What do you make of Anthony Joshua as a fight?
That's another big fight, and not to take anything away from those three heavyweights fighting each other. Those are all big fights, no matter how you look at it. But right now, the best fight in the division is Tyson, Fury versus Deontay Wilder. That fight is about to happen February 22nd. The fight with Deontay, maybe Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, is a bit far off. But this is something that's happened immediately right now, and that's why it's the best fight. And these guys, these two fighters have fought already, and they came out to a draw. One showed superior boxing skills, and he was dropped 2 times, and he got a draw. And one of them is an extreme puncher, who was who ended up getting 2 knockdowns to get the draw. So this is the best fight by far in boxing right now in the heavyweight division. Maybe in all of boxing right now, since the first fight was an instant classic.
Arguably, yeah, that is a good point. What's the situation with this cut? Obviously, we saw what happened with the Otto Warren fight. Everything is okay on that front, yes?
Everything's okay as far as I can see from the cut. It's been healed. It's been stitched up. It's been healed, and haven't seen anything that would make me believe that it would open up. If a fighter's not getting hit so much, then it's like saying a fighter doesn't have a chin, but he's not getting hit, so who knows how good his chin is or not. Me personally, I would rather have a fighter who doesn't have a chin and doesn't get hit than a fighter who has a chin and getting hit all the time. That kind of defeats the purpose of the sweet science of boxing, is to hit and not be hit. So it's always a mystery when I hear people argue about who has a chin and who doesn't have a chin. If you're not getting hit like you're supposed to, not get hit, then what difference does it make how good your chin is?
We know you guys are going for the knockout. What do you make of Deontay Wilder's chin? Obviously, he's fought Luis Ortiz twice, Tyson Fury himself, notably his best opponents on paper. What do you make of Wilder's chin when he's been in with top fighters?
You can say Wilder has a great chin. He hasn't been down. Don't know if he's been hit like that, but it doesn't matter.
Tyson busted him a fair few times in the first fight. Luis Ortiz caught him.
Still didn't go down.
No,
so,
he didn't.
I mean, you have to say he has a great chin, but this is the heavyweight division still. So he's been wobbled or shaken a bit sometimes, and that leads to believe that the man can be hurt. Maybe he just has to be hit more.
Just lastly, we know Tyson has still got a fair few fights left in him. Where do you think he can be placed in terms of the greats of all time?
I think Tyson Fury can be placed as one of the great fighters because of what he's done already by dethroning Vladimir Klitschko, and to have taken off from boxing for such a time that he did, and to come back and to make an instant classic fight with the Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber, the knockout artist. Nobody gave Tyson Fury really a chance in that fight, and to come back and to make a performance like that still reminds me of Muhammad Ali when he came back. People didn't think he would be able to do what he did in his career, as making a comeback after being laid off for such a time. And now you have Tyson Fury in that same situation, with that same charisma, the same character, the same confidence, the same, loves to box, that boxing ability. And this makes for a great fight.
And he's the people's champion as well, like Ali was.
Yes, very much so.
Well, people doubted him in Düsseldorf against Klitschko. People doubted him in Los Angeles against Wilder. There's still people doubting him going into this fight in Las Vegas. We'll see what happens. All will be revealed. What is it, 5 weeks to go now? Exciting.
Yeah, it's getting close, and it is exciting. I can only think about, if Emmanuel were alive now, this is the position he would be in right now. So from everything that he taught me, and I've learned from him throughout my life. For me to be here is like him being here, so it's a great feeling.
I'm sure he'll be proud of you and Tyson, and he'll be watching from above. Sugar Hill, great to meet you. Thank you for your time here in Las Vegas. I will see you back here in 4 weeks.
All right, thank you very much. And as you can see, I think Tyson did an Instagram video about the pool and the mountains and everything. Training camp looks so glamorous, but this is where we are right now, the same place.
What a great message that was as well. Like, the way social media is everyone tries to portray this great life, and he looked like he was having the best time in the world with his shades in that pool in that background, but he's been put for his paces by you.
Yeah, same as here. That's why I mentioned it, because we're sitting in the same spot, almost with the same background, and people are probably like, oh, they're living it up, they're having fun, but no, it's not like that. It's preparing for the fight. It's preparing mentally, physically. Everything goes into this fight from how he feels, and for me too. I mean, this is still the legacy of Emmanuel, and this is my own legacy as well. So I'm 100% in, and like I said, definitely happy to be here with Tyson, because this was something that Emmanuel started. Just the same as the Crunk Gym. Emmanuel started that Crunk Gym to be such a famous gym, and me and Tyson are here, continuing, something that Emmanuel he saw and believed in, and just carrying it forth to the future.
Absolutely. Sugar Hill, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Best of luck in the next 4 weeks with Tyson, and as I said, I'll see you out here next month. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Gold Star Promotions is proud to present Floyd Money Mayweather. The man himself is coming to the UK for his UK tour, February and March 2020. For all info and tickets, goldstarpromotions.co.uk.